Good evening, everyone. I'm Marianne Maffa, Executive Director of the Peggy Browning Fund. I'm honored to be your MC this evening and to welcome you to the Peggy Browning Fund's 2021 Philadelphia Virtual Awards Program. Tonight, we're celebrating 24 years of providing law students with unique experiences in advocating for the rights and needs of workers. We're also celebrating 3 truly outstanding honorees. Leaders who've dedicated their lives to improving the standard of living and job security of workers and their families. Tonight's awardees are Catherine Scott, Nicole Hunt, and Joel Weisblatt. Along with our awardees, we'd like to thank members of the host committee for their success in raising funds, especially during the continuing pandemic, to help support Peggy Browning Fund's essential programs. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a beverage of your choice as we listen to the following message from the Peggy Browning Fund's founder and president, my very dear colleague, Joe Laurie.
My name is Joe Laurie. I'm president of the Peggy Browning Fund. I'm also founder of the Peggy Browning Fund. Peggy was my wife, and this fund was founded as a legacy to her. She was a very big believer in workplace justice, the labor movement, unions. I think she's certainly a person who cared for people. She was a union-side labor lawyer, and she was the first union-side labor lawyer appointed to the National Labor Relations Board. And she was passionate about the labor movement and believed in unionism throughout the country. And she was a progressive person, and she put her words in actions. Unfortunately, about a year after she got appointed on the board, she developed breast cancer. And throughout the whole cancer, she never missed a day. She was the toughest person I ever met, and she was impassioned about the labor movement, and also a great woman, and a fun partner. After she passed away, I decided to honor her by establishing the Peggy Browning Fund and continuing her legacy. I came up with this idea to encourage law students who are progressive and interested perhaps in the labor movement to work for economic and social justice in the United States. I decided that I could do this by setting up a nonprofit. And it worked extremely well. Our summer fellowship program is the first activity we undertook when we started this organization. It has become the central part of our work. Each year we place law students with mentor organizations in the labor movement across the country, such as unions, worker centers, union-side law firms, and nonprofit organizations. These students have the opportunity to experience what a career would be like advocating for workplace justice. This year so far, we've placed 81 law students in paid positions at 65 mentor organizations for this summer. We have found an enormous increase in applications this year, over 23% more than last year. Some of this increase, we believe, is due to the fact that we were able to offer all of our 2020 fellows paid positions in mentor organizations. And we ensured that our students could work from home and have a successful experience. The word got out, and we're very proud of that. The second program is our National Law Students Workers' Rights Conference, held over 2 days every year in October. Students participate in workshops, panel discussions, keynote addresses, and networking. On an average, we have 170 to 180 law students from all across the country. In 2020, because of the virus, we live streamed the conference virtually over 3 days. This was wonderful. We hosted 178 students and were able to draw from labor and employment law experts from all over the country. Our third program is our regional workshop program. I'm advocating for workers' rights. Each year in the fall, we coordinate 1-hour panel discussions at law schools across the country, from NYU to Southern University, from Harvard to UC Irvine and Washington University. In 2020, we coordinated 14 virtual workshops sharing what it's like to practice law for workplace justice. We know that workers' rights everywhere are being attacked. Labor needs lawyers, and law positions are available to young lawyers and older lawyers who come out of law school today and say, okay, I want to do this type of work. And we hope that the fellows that we produce are passionate and add that passion to the work they do in the labor movement and indeed make the labor movement stronger. It's a legacy for progressives in the United States who care about the labor movement, who care about workplace justice. And without you guys, that couldn't happen. So I thank you dearly for your contributions. We ask that if you know anyone, of course, who might be interested in supporting a program like ours and becoming part of our legacy, that you reach out to them. It's just been a great joy for me, and in a sense, almost a gift to work on something like this after practicing law for over 60 years. So, yeah.
Joe has carried forward Peggy's legacy, building up and transforming this organization over the years as president, board member, and chief volunteer. We can't thank you enough, Joe. Events like tonight's are the primary means of supporting our programs. As many of you know, we host similar annual receptions in Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. Thank you for all your support of our programs, tonight and always. You'll notice that we're displaying the logos of tonight's supporters on screen during the program. We have recognized our Leadership Circle members, those who make annual leadership level gifts, and tonight's sponsors, without whom this awards program would not have been possible. Also, it's my pleasure to recognize this evening's Guardian sponsors. If you're moved by the messages of our speakers this evening and would like to make a gift yourself, or an additional gift if you've already given, feel free to make a pledge now on the form below. We'll contact you later to fulfill your pledge so you don't have to leave this program. If you'd like to make a gift after the program, use the link below or go directly to our website at www.peggybrowningfund.org. All gifts are greatly appreciated and greatly needed, particularly during these very challenging times. So thank you. Each year, we call upon one of our summer fellowship alumni to share their fellowship experience. We feel there's no better way to demonstrate the impact of our programs than to hear it directly from a fellowship recipient. Tonight, we've asked 2019 and 2020 Summer Fellow Maria DeGeorge to share her thoughts on choosing a career representing workers and their families, and to describe her experience as a Summer Fellow during the pandemic. Maria is now a third-year student at Temple University Beasley School of Law. She's completed 2 Peggy Browning Summer Fellowships, one at United Steelworkers in Pittsburgh, and one last summer at the International Labor Rights Forum in Washington, D.C. Before law school, Maria organized her university bookstore to support a unionized factory in the Dominican Republic by replacing sweatshop-made apparel with union-made. She served in the Pennsylvania State Department as Deputy Director of Legislative Affairs, working on election reform. She also studied the effects of unionization on economic inequality at the London School of Economics in the United Kingdom. We're very fortunate that Maria has continued to be involved with us, most recently by participating as a panelist in our Advocating for Workplace Justice Regional Workshops program. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Maria DeGeorge.
I am incredibly grateful. I had not one, but 2 experiences as a Peggy Browning Fellow, and they deepened even further my commitment to the labor movement. and were absolutely crucial to my career as a future labor lawyer. First, as just a new 1L, I was able to intern with the United Steelworkers in Pittsburgh. And being in Pittsburgh was really important to the experience, I think, because of the rich labor history in that city. You could just feel the importance of the union throughout the entire town. And being in that environment was very inspiring. I had the opportunity to really hone my legal research and writing skills. Everybody was more than happy to give me feedback and help progress those skills for me, which I really, really appreciated. There were actually 2 other Peggy Browning Fellows with me from different law schools in other parts of the country. So that really gave me solidarity with other labor law students who want to pursue this career as well. We also got to go out to lunch a lot with other attorneys in the office. Once we went to a Pittsburgh Pirates game, which was a lot of fun. There was also a brown bag lunch program where we could once a week learn about other public interest opportunities in Pittsburgh. My second fellowship experience with Peggy Browning was as a fellow with International Labor Rights Forum, which while I was there merged with Global Labor Justice. And that was an absolutely once in a lifetime experience to get to learn about international labor law issues. And the main thing I worked on there was a project on due diligence and looking at international laws and what the law can do to protect workers in supply chains. And there have been really devastating labor law violations, such as in Rana Plaza, where the factory collapsed and killed many workers. So I was part of the effort to try to get laws that can protect these workers in all areas of the supply chains. I was remote because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but the employees there did everything they could to make me feel comfortable and make me feel like I had access to them. I would have weekly check-ins with my supervisor. I also got invited to all sorts of different meetings and calls so I could speak with people in their organization around the world. And even though I couldn't physically be in Washington, D.C., I really felt like I was part of it, even from my home in Philadelphia. I want to say thank you so much sincerely for these opportunities. It can be challenging as a law student to come up with the funds to support just everyday living expenses while also doing a fellowship. And it makes it challenging and is a barrier for a lot of students who otherwise would be interested in public interest. And so it was a huge relief to me to be able to have the money to, afford food and rent and transportation and not have to worry about that so much. These experiences have really impacted my future career prospects. They've made me very excited about a career working as a labor lawyer, because not only is the subject matter interesting and challenging, but it makes a real difference in people's lives, in the lives of union members or non-union members who are just as well trying to get rights in the workplace. So I think it's an amazing career path, and I'm very grateful that I had such positive experiences, and I look forward to many more years of working with the labor movement.
Thank you, Maria. You truly represent the future of labor advocacy that we are all here to support. At this point in the program, we usually encourage you to meet our wonderful fellows and alumni representatives of the Peggy Browning Fund, who would usually be here in the room with all of us this evening. Since we're not together in person, I'll suggest that you visit our website and click on the 2020 Fellows brochure to see for yourself why our mentors and many labor organizations that are hiring have come to prefer Peggy Browning alumni. Our first Peggy Browning Award of the evening goes to Joel Weisblatt. A graduate of Cornell University School of Industrial and Labor Relations, Joel received his Juris Doctorate from Brooklyn Law School. He's an arbitrator, mediator, and a fact finder in labor relations disputes, and served as an impartial third party in over 5,000 matters involving employers and unions in both the public and private sector. Joel serves as chair of the New Jersey Public Employment Relations Commission, with jurisdiction over all public sector collective negotiations relationships in New Jersey. He's also served as a staff mediator with the New Jersey Public Employment Relations Commission. He is a member of the National Academy of Arbitrators, the Cornell ILR Alumni Association, and is a former executive board member of the Association of Labor Relations Agencies. It's my pleasure to present the Peggy Browning Award to Joel Weisblatt, fair-minded arbitrator, stalwart supporter of collective bargaining, resolving conflicts between labor and management. Join me in welcoming tonight's arbitrator mediator awardee, Joel Weisblatt.
I want to thank the Peggy Browning Fund for its recognition of various people in the field of collective bargaining and contributions from both advocates and neutrals. And what's really dear to me is the wording on this award itself, and references and recognition to the importance of fair-minded arbitration and a stalwart support for the collective bargaining system. I have spent 40 years dedicated to the importance of neutrality as an arbitrator and mediator in this field. And the importance of that is that having acceptability to the parties and being able to assist them in resolving their disputes, whether voluntarily or ultimately in an arbitration award, requires that they know that I am not on either side, but I am open and that I will determine each case on the terms of the contract that's involved and on terms of the facts that are presented by the parties. I've had the good fortune to work with a tremendous number of very positive, interesting, and dedicated people. And I think the people in our field are just wonderful to work with. There are exceptions. Not everyone is as wonderful to work with, but a big compliment of the people we work with have a great deal at heart. And that's on both sides of the table, quite frankly. You know, everyone's case, whether it's 6 bus mechanics in a garage in South Jersey, or whether it's thousands of teachers in a major municipality, their case is the most important thing in the world to them at the time. And I find that there's a motivation that grabs me, whether it involves millions of dollars or whether it involves $27 or a day's pay or whatever it might be, is really quite significant to me. I'd like to stress that my commitment to the fact that this process belongs to the parties. It doesn't belong to individual advocates. It doesn't belong to arbitrators, and it doesn't belong to mediators. And no matter how well written or how well reasoned an arbitration award might be, there's nothing more special or gratifying as a neutral than to assist parties in reaching a voluntary resolution and maintaining that relationship and recognizing that they can do it themselves without litigation, without arbitration, and without the imposition of a binding settlement. That in their own hands, they make the most progress towards a long-term positive application. I think the Peggy Browning Fund is very special because it focuses on bringing new life and blood into the system of collective bargaining, where there might not have been such a development absent the help of the fund. I would like to thank my family, especially my parents, who are both now gone, but they were wonderfully supportive of my pursuing this career. And my wife and 2 sons have also been just great and helpful. And I watch them grow, and it makes me really proud to know that we as a family have been able to put together this practice. I was incredibly proud to be recognized, especially by this organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joel. Our next awardee is Nicole Hunt, president of Unite Here Local 634, representing food service workers and student climate staff in the Philadelphia School District. She was encouraged to join the union by her mother, who was a proud member of 1199C at Temple University Hospital for over 30 years. In 2009, during the dispute between Unite Here and Workers United, Nicole played a key role in organizing the labor board vote, which guaranteed that Local 634 would stay within Unite Here. In 2013, when the school district laid off all of the 1,200 noontime aides who were part of Local 634, Nicole participated in a hunger strike outside of the governor's office in Philadelphia for almost 3 weeks. They were successful. Nicole believes strongly that in order to bring workers out of poverty, we have to organize and fight for the rights they deserve. She will not stop pushing for the people of Philadelphia to come out of poverty, to not be judged by the color of their skin, but for who they are. The Peggy Browning Award is presented to Nicole Hunt, union activist, inspirational labor leader, supporting the labor movement and improving the lives of working people. It's my pleasure to introduce tonight's second awardee, Nicole Hunt.
Thank you so much for this award. I really, really appreciate it. It just goes to show for the next person that hard work and dedication, people see you, and I'm just honored to have this award. I grew up in North Philly. I grew up 24th in Indiana. When I was growing up during the crack epidemic. And so we would have crackheads walking down the street smoking a pipe while we were playing double dutch. It was definitely hard. You know, my mom kept me in Catholic schools, and it was times where we had our gas turned off and we had our electric turned off, but my mom, she pushed through it. And I'm like, if she could push through it, I can too. I just chose to use my voice, and everybody has a voice, and it matters. People's voices matter a lot. In the school district, a lot of people only think about teachers. And so they forget there's other people working in the building. Local 634 members, we feed our kids, we hug our kids, we wipe noses, we take them to the bathroom. That matters to kids too, not just the books, but we matter too. The fast we did was a response to the school district laying off 1,200 workers. And so we decided to make sure that they understood that we mattered in the school district and that we keep kids safe. The fast was a very, very difficult thing. I fasted for 8 days, and we were able to get funding for the school district so that they could hire our people back. So that was a great accomplishment for me. Food service workers never stopped working during the pandemic because we had to feed the children across the city. There's so many kids across Philadelphia are hungry. They can see during regular school years how kids sit around the lunch table and wait for leftovers. And so I feel they feel proud because they know they're feeding these kids, that if they wouldn't have fed them, they would go hungry. I think it's important for people who have tough times to stand up because that's the time to stand up. Things don't change unless we demand it. And we have to, just like the presidential election, we didn't do anything, we wouldn't have won Pennsylvania. We had over 500 people out in the streets of Philadelphia. We knocked on over 300,000 doors. The people who knocked on the doors were laid off workers. It was led by workers for the country. I remember on that Saturday after Election Day, we were at the convention center about to have a rally for, count every vote. And we realized that Biden had won. It was a celebration because it was people out there dancing in the street, blowing horns. And Pennsylvania won an election, but it was really Philadelphia. Philadelphia got the votes out because those people that didn't vote in 2016, we got them out to vote in 2020. So fighting works, and we just got to get people to believe in it because it is hard with COVID going on out here and people dying and losing their life and people losing health care. This is not the time to sit back and feel sorry for yourself. This is the time to stand up and fight back. So our campaign is one job should be enough. I totally believe one job should be enough because we should not have to work 2 jobs and 2 or 3 and not even spend time with our households to survive. We need good labor lawyers because we need people who know the law because like myself, I came from the shop. I don't know law, but I know people. I can talk to people. I can organize the people, and we need labor lawyers to tell us what we can and cannot do. So we need labor lawyers to be on our side. And plus, everybody should be in a union, period. I just had to put that. So. I think a person of color should consider labor laws because we need more Black or people of color lawyers. We need people that can be able to understand our struggle and be able to speak for us. I'd like to thank the Peggy Browning Fund for this acknowledgement. I really appreciate it. I'd like to thank my members because without Local 634 members, I wouldn't be here. Also acknowledging like Warren Heyman and Doris Smith, because this just goes to show that anybody, I'm just a regular person from North Philly, and that I have this award that anybody could do. It's nothing special about me, but it's something special about this award. Thank you again for giving me this honor. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nicole, for your strong leadership and dedication. Our final awardee this evening is Catherine Scott, President of AFSCME District Council 47. Kathy has worked for her union since 1982, holding many local positions and then becoming president of AFSCME Local 2187. Under Kathy's leadership, Local 2187 grew by more than 1,200 members and added bargaining units. Her focus on organizing new union members resulted in the 2020 election of the employees of the Philadelphia Museum of Art to affiliate with AFSCME District Council 47. As the lead member of the union contract negotiating team for more than 35 years, Kathy has authored many of the improvements in contracts with the City of Philadelphia and led negotiations with the University of Pennsylvania, Temple University, the Philadelphia Zoological Society, the First Judicial District of Pennsylvania, and the Art Institute of Philadelphia. Kathy has been a longtime supporter of ours, and I am delighted to present the Peggy Browning Award to Kathy Scott, union activist, inspirational labor leader, supporting the labor movement, improving the lives of working people. It's my pleasure to introduce tonight's final awardee, Kathy Scott.
I would like to thank the Peggy Browning Fund for honoring me tonight with this award. Even though I did not know Peggy personally, Peggy was a member of my home local when she worked for the City of Philadelphia as a human relations representative. This was before she became an attorney. And so our local has always considered this a really important event for us to support. So I am very honored to be recognized by the fund. I started out as a social worker at the Philadelphia prisons. And like any institutional setting, it was tough to try to get workers' voices recognized. But I grew to love the union work. And the more I got involved in it, the more it called to me. Some of the groundbreaking things that we have been able to do in my local are we negotiated family medical leave before the Family and Medical Leave Act was passed. We also negotiated members being able to donate time to other members who have catastrophic illnesses. Our members are focused on addressing the pandemic to make sure that not only our members, but also the public are coming into a safe place for both the people who they're providing services for, but also for themselves. It is important to union leaders to have young lawyers who are committed to labor law, because one of the things that most union leaders are attempting to do is not just related to their own members, but to bring social justice, environmental justice, as well as gender and racial justice to the workplace and their community. And so having attorneys that understand those issues and support those issues really gives us additional ammunition that we wouldn't have if we didn't have attorneys that had the background provided by the Peggy Browning Fund. They're not going to make the money that they would make at corporate America. We know that. But there's a tremendous amount of satisfaction when you're able to accomplish the things that we're trying to accomplish in society to make life better for everyone. We've had an opportunity to meet people who are in the program or graduates of the program, and they're wonderful. To work with, the enthusiasm is tremendous. This is not provided anyplace else. This is unique, And this is an opportunity to really make a difference that will change somebody's life potentially, and certainly do good for the labor movement as well as community groups. So I would encourage everyone to make a donation. If you already have donated, that doesn't mean you can't make another donation. We have to have that next generation coming up that have the commitment and the fire in their belly to be able to do the work that is so important to all of us. I want to thank the Peggy Browning Fund for this award. I also want to thank people who have mentored me through my union career, especially my sisters in the Northeast Summer School. They encouraged me to think bigger, to do bigger things, and I certainly wound up where I am now because of all the support that I got from members. And I also want to acknowledge a very strong mentor of mine from when I first started in the union, and that is Debbie Willig. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Kathy, for all that you've done and for all that you're continuing to do. Once again, congratulations to all our phenomenal awardees from the Philadelphia area. And thank you to the members of the host committee. And a special thanks to all our donors. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's virtual awards program. It's been a pleasure to serve as your MC and celebrate with so many friends and colleagues. Once again, if you're moved by the messages of our speakers this evening and would like to make a personal gift or an additional gift to support students who are considering a career in the labor movement, please click on the donation link below. And thanks again to everyone for being here tonight and supporting the Peggy Browning Fund. We hope to see you in person in 2022 to celebrate our 25th anniversary. Here's to all of you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe, be well, and keep up the good fight. Good night.